All right. So, oh, okay. I don't know if you caught the first part. This might be 6 seconds in, 10 seconds in looking at it, but here we are. Welcome back. Anyone who gets to watch this live, which I don't think I had a time to announce or let anyone know, so not expecting that. If you're watching this later on, I hope you enjoyed the second playtest video. Like I said in the description, Rebels and Rogues Tactics, the first video received such a good, like, hey, this is really interesting. I don't know if it'll work, but it definitely is something really curious. I can't think of the right adjective. It's Thursday. I'm tired. And that's my refrain. I'm tired. Doesn't matter. What is it? I'm going to arrange the board a little bit better so that way you can see it right there. And that should be all that. Let's see. Do I want it like there? Let's do this right here. Okay. One person commented, you need to get higher tables because you're going to throw out your back. And I felt my back spasming last time. And that was hilarious that was actually picked up on. I appreciate the concern for my back health. I am 45 and things like that matter. So what actually does matter as well, because I want to do this video in like 15 to 20 minutes, is I wanted to play test the next thing that I wanted to figure out and try. When we played, you were watching me play this unit, and the units were kind of generic and kind of doing their own thing. We had a pure unit of shield bearers on the Hinter side versus a mixed unit for St. Falls. And because of the way the combat worked, you didn't get to see the coolest thing, which is the combo system that I've worked out for the battle board. I'm going to give away the goat right now. I built alpha striking into the actual unit itself. One sec. This is live, so I'm going to have to actually do this. That's hilarious. I wasn't planning to have to edit this video, and I might not. So yeah, who cares? Where was I at? So you saw the Hinters attack St. Falls, and nothing really happened except they took out one unit each. The big thing that happened, or the important strategic value, was that the shield bearers took out the Blood Elf Revenant, and that's actually pretty good in terms of strategy because taking out a specific unit within a squad limits that squad's access to special moves. I'm straight paying homage to Chrono Trigger with creating one of the things that I most loved from the combat in that video game, which was you had a party of 3, and you either could do dual attacks or triple attacks, where it was like 2 of the characters doing a powerful attack, or all 3 characters doing a really nasty attack. And depending on who you mix with who, you got to see different combos. And it was almost like spell effects that you're just like, ooh, what is this going to look like? Is there going to be a dinosaur running across the screen? Oh, someone said thank you. Yeah, I appreciate the person who dropped by and just said, I recognize that background. You should. So that being said, what we're going to take a look at, because we didn't see it last time and I didn't get to play test it, is what happens when a unit charges and gets an alpha strike off. It's actually something really interesting. Is alpha striking going to overpower the game on the battle board and ruin the strategic value of doing these things or mixing these things? Can you do a wombo combo and win the game within the first 2 turns? my argument based off of what I've seen and how I've written my rules and designed the alpha striking is it's powerful, but it's not game breaking powerful. It's powerful enough that like you want to pull off these alpha strikes and you want to get into the position where you get to use them. Or if you're defending, you find a way to kind of negate them. So when you get these alpha strikes in the battle board to actually activate and work, you're just like, yes, because it feels like a super narrative moment, super powerful moment. It's like a limit break that you're waiting for in any of the Final Fantasy games. I can't remember which ones had the best limit breaks, but I want to say maybe Final Fantasy VIII. Could be wrong. Let's get to it. I'm going to do this in about 10 minutes and then go from there. So it's still round 2. They moved, they attacked, and they defended. And then it's now back to the hinter's turn. And so what the hinters are going to do, just straight out, I think what makes the most sense is, so he moved up. So the commander, the locust, the Wolfkin locust for the hinters moved up and kind of buffed everything here. And to be clear, let me find that paper. Yeah, here we go. I actually tried to do something simple, which is cut the things out to make it easier, but I forgot that I wanted to see what the locust actually does. So he moved up. Once per round, a Wolfkin locust can give one squad containing a Wolfen unit 2 extra attack. On the strategy board, can spend their 2 actions to give all squads in their battle group within 3 axes +2 grit. So maybe it's a little bit of retconning, but he moved up, and anything within 3 hexes, this is him kind of like being the rock that everyone depends on, and he uses that ability to buff them up. So everything gets +2 grit. So what does that mean? Well, we'll see how it plays out. I'm going to activate this unit of human telekinetic, an orc sprinter, and a dwarf druid. Very proxied because none of them look like the way I would imagine them, except maybe from the wizard from Hero Quest that I'm proxying for the telekinetic. The orc is also from Hero Quest, and then the dwarf is a dwarf from Highland Miniatures. This game is miniatures agnostic. Go with what you want. If one day I can do like a Kickstarter for STLs to be produced, then you're going to see the unique vision that I have for what I would want my game and my universe to look like. Here we go. I'm going to activate them. They are going to charge. So that means they get to move. And if they engage within 2 moves, they get to engage. So from here, they move 1. And then they're going to charge the zombies in the forest. Now, one thing that it says for the rules for the forest is a unit in the forest getting charged gets +1 grit. He used his ability, so everything within 3 inches in his battle group gets +2 grit. So they're at +3. Looking at the telekinetic, the dwarf druid, and the sprinters, the zombies actually have more grit, or no, more gumption. Sometimes though I collapse those terms, and this video is just a mess because of it. Plus they have +1 gumption and +2 gumption. So they have a total of 3. So there is this ability to actually like stack abilities, not necessarily repeat. Like you can't do a forest twice if it's a heavy forest, unless maybe in the future I have light forest versus heavy forest as terrain. But the terrain here is actually having a huge effect on the initial dice roll. We'll go it again. Red dice is same falls. White dice is hinters. So they're +3, they're +2. When they move, that's going to determine this board. And I'm just going to use this generic board for it. But if it was a forest, it would look a little bit different. There would be a little bit more variety, more forest in the center. So like that would actually create like do I want to charge into the forest, or is it better to be a defender in there? So let's go. +3 on the red and +2 on the white. Okay. So the red, even though they got charged, even though St. Falls got charged, they got the gumption. So they're going first. So I'm taking all 5. and I'm going to take these 3 and they move over to the table. So because the gumption was higher for them, they get to set up first, and they're gonna be a zombie horde. It's the wet dead. Obviously, I'm doing this in the place where there might be interruptions. This is the time that I have. So if I keep in the interruptions, because I like being authentic about this is what it actually is to design games. This is authentically like nothing is perfect and you just have to be flexible. You can't be attached to things. Cool. I want to get to this. So we're going to do this. So because they got the drop on the unit charging them because they had higher gumption, see how in this game, gumption could be leadership, could be grit, but it actually is playing a huge effect because it's also initiative. It's not something that's just like you do it at the end of a combat and like you get frustrated because it's not something you need. It's not something that gives you more wounds. It's something that actually makes the gameplay like a little bit more RNG because you never know how things are going to turn out, but you can stack things in your favor to have a better chance of getting the outcome you want, which is maybe you want to go first. Maybe you realize, actually, I don't mind going second on the battle board because I actually want you to move. So the zombies, I'm going to play the way I naturally play, which is I'm an aggressive player. A more tactically aware player, which is like, okay, I'm going to go first. So I'm just going to like avoid you as much as possible because I don't want to fight you. I want to stay alive. I want to find out if alpha striking breaks the system. So the wet dead, move first. They're going to move over here because what they want to do is they actually want to get within range of them fast to do their I'm going to give it away as like just a direct homage. If they do a duo, it's called a Tori. If they do a trio attack, all 3 of them attack, all 3 of them activate at the same time, it's called a Yama. Tori Yama. It's my homage to the man who did the art for Chrono Trigger, for Dragon Quest, but mainly for Chrono Trigger and just the beauty of like seeing that game. And to point out right back there, I have the Super Nintendo little poster that they had for Chrono Trigger when you used to get the Nintendo Plus. I can't remember the name right now of the magazine, but man, did I love that magazine as a teenager. Let's get to it. Less nostalgia, more murder. So they're gonna deploy here. They're gonna deploy here. It's the wet dead's turn. It's an I go, you go. So the wet dead, they only move 1, but they can rush 2. So they're gonna move 1, 2, and that's actually they're gonna do this 1, 2. So they're gonna move into the building. They're not stupid wet dead. They know they need to actually survive. So they're going to move into a place that actually has some protection. I'm making the general right now that if you're in terrain, you actually get the terrain benefits even if you're engaged in the same square with someone. So that's an I go, you go. So now it's the hinter's turn to go for turn 1 of the battle board. I'm still trying to get the terms like just this is what it's called and this is what it is. So I'm taking a look at what everyone has. They have mixed the hinters or sprinter. Okay, if activated, if the sprinter becomes the lead, that's my orc, with a telekinetic and a dwarf fire mage, this unit gains up to +1 movement and +2 modifier on close combat worlds. So pretty much he gets fists of fire and he gets to attack. If I do over here, this human telekinetic only has a Tori. So he's not going to get to activate all 3 characters. He's going to activate with just the druid, and he gets to make a wall, which if an enemy unit moves through the wall, it takes 3 wounds, which can be defended against. So I could defend myself with this. And then over here, I have a dwarf who can cast spells just by himself, rolling boulder, flame, shock, or he can do a Tori, which is a strangle. If activated with a telekinetic, this unit casts strangle on any unit within 5 inches of it. Confronts. A unit cannot activate unless next turn unless it passes a gumption test of 5+. So this is something where it's like if I wanted to freeze them, that I could, and I can do a Tori and or a Yami every single turn if I can pull it off. If one of them dies, that limits my response. So I think just for the heck of it, I'm gonna do the Yami with the Orc Sprinter. I nominate him lead, so he's the one who's gonna activate while the other two support. And if activated with the Telekinetic and Dwarf, this unit gains +1 movement and a +2 modifier on combat rolls. This unit loses 1 wound. So he's on fire. So he goes down to 1 wound. I'll use this blue dice. And, something I'm learning from Warcrow is have the cards there and we'll see what happens. So he has 2 wounds because I'm thinking I'm going to make the orcs a little beefier. So 1, he's going to move 2. They're staying here on this part. And let me see if I can show it to you better. So that way you can see it better. I like how right here, no, I'm trying to make sure that, okay, right there. Okay, that actually isn't bad. I'm not going to do this. You're just going to have to look at my chest. Okay, so he activates from here, and then he charges, or he moves into engagement. He's going to attack. He gets a +2 modifier on close combat rules. Because he charged, he gets, instead of the normal 4 dice, he gets 6 dice. I'm changing where you get 2 more dice if you charge on the strategy board. And then if you flank or you hit someone from the rear, very much like what would happen in Battletech, that increases your dice. So he's going to get, let's see, it says 4 dice, so he gets 6 dice. Because he's on fireball mode, because of the magic that was cast on his hands, he gets a +2 modifier. So it goes from a 5+ to a 3+. So on 3+, he does damage. So let me see if I can't roll it here. Okay, so he does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits out of 6. That's actually really good. He came in and he alpha strike the hell out of the 5 wet dead. The wet dead, they're in the terrain, and let me see the specific rule. I think, if I remember correctly, if they're in a structure like this, they get +2 to their roll. So they get to make 5 attacks or 5 saves. 5 saves. Because they're hiding in the buildings. They go from, let's see, 6+ to 4+. So let's see what happens. Okay, so not a great roll for the wet dead. 3 of them die. But if a wet dead, when brought to 0 wounds, makes a roll, on a 5+, the wet dead regains 1 wound. It's regeneration. I kept that from Old World because I wanted it to have that unique vibe of the undead are supposed to be pretty powerful about regenerating. So they took 3 wounds. Let's see if they save it on a 5+. They saved 2. So boom, 1's dead. Okay, that's it for their turn. Turn 2. The zombies, the wet dead, they're just going to charge up and make an attack. I need to think of a better term than that because it's almost like maybe I want to call it a burst attack, which is they power up, but they suffer -1 to their defense rolls. So these guys kind of suck, but because they're in here, it's going to be a +1 instead of a +2. Combos. I'm silly like this, but I hope you enjoy it. I'm already at the 20-minute mark. Let me hurry up. Okay, so from there, they're going to attack back. They're going to get 4 dice. They're going to hit. They're going to charge up. Okay, they're going to charge up and hit 4 times, and they're going to hit on a 4 up. Oh, they get 8 attacks. That's the crazy thing. They're going to direct all their attacks into him. So on a 4 up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Uh-oh, that's not good. He has to take 6 saves. Now, since he's also in the terrain, he gets a +2 to his defense. Let's see how many defense he gets. He gets 2 dice. Well, okay, I'm starting to recognize that there's a breakdown in how I understand things. So I need to make sure that I rethink this. One of the places where I'm breaking is like, if he takes 5 wounds and he only has 2 defense dice, he's automatically taking 3 wounds, correct? So that might be where he has to make sure that he kills everything. So I think he can only roll 2. He's at 1, so he's automatically dead. Boom. He's not wet dead, so he's not coming back. So they killed off the orc sprinter. So now it's back to them, and we're going to be able to finish this quick. They're going to move up, and they're going to perform, let's see. So the telekinetic and the dwarf druid, if activated with this, it can strangle any, they cannot activate. So strangle would not matter because it's not going to move them. And then the telekinetic hits on 2+ wall. Okay, so the wall's not going to do anything. Maybe they should have used the wall the first turn to make them come. What they're both going to do, he is going to move up and engage. He's going to attack the dwarf Jew. Actually, range 3. He's going to do a rolling boulder. Anything contacted by the boulder is hit, and it's 3 magical dice on 4s. So they take 2 hits. Each one, they take 2, so that could kill off 2. 1 blocks, and the other does not, and then they get a regen, and so 1 more dead. Boom. Okay. Then the telekinetic moves and uses the gauntlets with their telekinetic power. They get, they hit on a 2+, they have 4 dice. So because they're using their telekinetic powers, they hit, misses once. So there's 3 left. They get to roll 3 dice because it might go through. This might be where they need to roll it. They all don't defend, even though, because they got 1s and 2s. And so then finally they get the regen save, and none of them get it. So this unit, even though they lost the sprinter, because of the individual attacks and what they're able to do, and that might be the collapse of the game, where it's like, did the individual attacks actually do more than the alpha striking? Is the alpha striking actually useful? We're going to play test that more. So boom, end of round 2, they come back, they're in the forest, and they can choose to move any direction in D2. So you roll a dice, they can move 1 hex any direction. Do I want to engage and do it again? I think the rule that I'm going to have is they can move into a hex that is unengaged. If they're chasing down an enemy that has fleed, they can like go after them, and if they get them, then they're wiped out. Similar to like what happens in Warhammer Fantasy when units are fleeing. We'll see if that works out in the long run with fleeing, or if it's just they can move to an unoccupied space, or maybe just do 1 action. So that was one turn of the battle board. We have, what is it? 1, 2, 3. No, 2 more things to do on each side. And so 1 unit, the wet dead, died. Good times. All right. For the people watching this, please give me feedback. Please let me know what you need in terms of information. I actually really enjoyed this playthrough, and I'll see you on the next one. It'll probably be either tomorrow or on Monday, as that's the time that I have. All right. Peace in the Middle East.